When I think of CK, there are two characteristics that immediately come to mind. One is brilliance, and the other is integrity.
He picked the topics he thought were going to impact the world the most and just went after them. You write your own vision. You don't have to please referees with it. You write what you believe.
He was always listening and curious and really willing to engage with people, all different people, to learn from them and to understand their experiences. And to me, that's part of the brilliance of CK.
He's passionate and relentless and high energy.
He had the pulse of the industry. He had the pulse of all the challenges and the problems that companies and top leaders were facing. The ability to just, have a conversation, collaborate and work with CK, that was very, very exciting.
With CK, once he gets a fire in his belly, look out.
He made me feel like he was really listening to me and understanding, and he made me feel like I was the smartest person in the room.
So the question is, what if we turn these 5 billion people into active micro consumers and micro producers? The basic premise is, these 5 billion people, if they're mobilized, organized, this could be the next engine of enormous growth around the world, and the companies would benefit, therefore they will do well. At the same time, they would dramatically improve the quality of life and access to goods and services, and certainly the capacity for getting a better livelihood. Therefore, they'll also do good.
I feel his work on base of the pyramid, or sometimes called bottom of the pyramid, or BOP, was perhaps his most impactful if you think beyond the business world. This vision was about how can we rethink the global poor. In this case, the definition was people that were making $8 or less a day. We need to think about them not just as recipients of aid, but also as value-conscious consumers.
What really struck me was the idea that these low-income populations weren't just to be overlooked and to be ignored, nor were they merely passive recipients of aid, but rather they had a voice.
And his heart was in solving, problems for the society, especially, reaching the poor people at the bottom of the pyramid. And that's why towards the end of his career, he spent a lot of time on that.
So it's what I thought CK was especially good at was, sort of, as the strategists would say, skating to where the puck will be.
Having some idea of where the puck is going, but you also have to skate to where it is. The part of skating to where the puck is as important as imagining, where things are going.
The paper we wrote on strategic intent, which really focused on aspiration, focused on working from the future backwards, talked about the importance of stretch as a way of encouraging innovation. I think that has probably stood the test of time.
So CK is really unique in the sense of the way he went about doing research. For instance, his most famous paper on the core competence of the corporation, that paper's been cited close to 40,000 times and has had a tremendous influence on the academic field.
The core competence article is important because it changed how people think about strategy. Instead of this simplistic view of thinking about strategy as picking an industry and cutting costs, strategy became much more about looking inward and understanding the firm and its capabilities. The core competence is all about seeing the firm as an organism that is learning, and then the role of the strategist is someone who needs to guide the learning of this organism. This was a revolutionary idea, and it changed the theory and practice of strategy forever.
N equal to 1, R equal to G is a fundamental view of how the world can be. Not necessarily everybody is there, but that's how it should be. I call it democratizing commerce.
I've sat in his class many times. He would actually teach the same case, in a different setting, and you would still be engrossed in it. He would actually show up in a suit or at least a blazer to the classroom, and he said that is respect to the classroom, again, respect to the students who are spending, investing their time in you.
And he would just open their minds to new ways of thinking, and they loved it. Right? They would always give him the highest possible ratings because it was so practical and it was so powerful.
Probably the most important thing of all that he did for me was teach me how to teach. There is a whole process of preparation. There's teaching notes, there are teaching group meetings, there's an art to how to ask good questions in a classroom. It really is a learned capability. So CK was the guy who was probably most responsible for empowering me with that competence.
You cannot lead unless you're future-oriented. Leadership is about the future. Leadership is about a point of view about that future. So the first thing is we must have a distinct point of view, not about our current affairs, but how the world can be 10 years from now.
So I think we're talking about a truly great man who touched tens of thousands of lives. There are a few people that I enjoyed more knowing in my career, or who I found more exciting to spend time with.
And in fact, when he passed away, I know a couple of cab drivers in India, they were really, shocked, and they expressed their condolences and always, still inquire about him and his family. And that tells you about he was connected to people of all different levels.
Without CK's work, I don't think I could actually be here and do work that is seen as credible and important, not just to practice in the real world, but also to researchers.
I look at him as kind of a aspirational model of what a scholar can be. You couldn't ask for a more visionary guy. This guy, big picture thinking was just like his lifeblood.
He always wanted to amplify what he called weak signals, right? And that's the quality I admire most about him, because that is quite rare.
The action he catalyzed in terms of encouraging managers in the development community to rethink their strategies and think about new ways to serve the poor, to serve the base of the pyramid. And that legacy continues until today. And for me, that's amazing. Anyone could have that kind of legacy in their lifetime and beyond is absolutely incredible. And I think what many academics aspire to is we want to influence theory and knowledge, but we also really want to influence practice. And CK did an amazing job balancing both of those and pushing ideas forward that literally changed the world.